luck, and we're going to be live here. So drop a chat in there. Let me know that the function's working. Here's the first hitter, Danny Marston. And Danny had a real good summer session last year in the Chicago Summer Series. He ended up being the hit leader for the summer in the Summer Series. How about that? Of course, Danny came over last year from the Impact Squad, and there's a line drive base hit. So again, if you're watching on Facebook, please drop a comment in the chat box so I can know that everything is out there and functioning properly. So leadoff man on is Danny Marston, whistles a single to center field. I'm going to go back through the rules because I think even though we got on the air, and here's a high fly ball by Mark. And he flies out. And of course, Mark, also a former Impact guy, came over here when Kevin Duff left, Mark Menizzi, and really stepped up his game and has become one of the best second basemen. Here's Dave Navarro, came over from the Iron team, and Dave slaps it up the middle, and there's a little bobble, and they won't get anybody. Greco knocks it down. Marston will go to third. So that was a ground ball right up the middle. Should have been a Taylor double play ball, and the way Navarro runs, any kind of bobble like that, you're just not going to get him. So here's Anthony Scarlatta, signature runners on the corners now, one out, and chance to jump up early in this ball game. And Scarlatta whistles a hit 1-0, and Navarro blew a tire, but he'll get back to second. But the first run of the ball game does score there. So we'll go through the rules again. If anybody's on Facebook on the SSA page, please drop a comment in there. Just want to make sure the chat function is working. And that's going to bring up pick Chris Pakulis. So first and second, 1-0 here, top of the first. And there's a hammer shot in front of the center fielder. Can't make the play, though. He did recover, and now they're going to throw behind Scar, and they're going to get the second out. Run did score there, but Scarlatta got out over his skis. Center fielder, you can see, did keep the ball in front. And Scarlatta out easily at second base. And it's going to bring up Greg Fleming, another signature guy that had a terrific Chicago Summer Series last year. And, of course, we'll be bringing that back, tying up the big tournaments during the summer and keeping cumulative stats during the summer, leaderboards, etc. And again, the Westchester TOC, those letters should be going out this week to the teams that got invited. That tournament starts May 15th, so we're less than 5 weeks away from the first major tournament of the summer. And Fleming, ground ball to short center, and they nip him at first. That was bang, bang. We'll take another look at it. As Greg Fleming flying down the line there. Good play by the short center. But they push two across, and bang, bang. So you can make up your own mind. And we'll head to the bottom of the, yeah, it's working okay. I do see the comments. The only problem is it didn't change the title for me. I still got the weekend title. We'll clean that up after the broadcast. So coming up here for Hex, it's going to be Curtis Ostrom. Then it'll be Nick, and then Al Rice. So 2-0 here in the heading to the bottom of the fifth. So we'll go through the rules again. This is Chicago 16-inch style softball for those of you new to it. 60-foot bases, leadoff can't steal. 38 feet from the rubber to the point of home plate. We're playing no gloves, so the pitcher gets a drag step, one step left, right, or back. He gets 2 fakes or hesitation. Third arm action must be to deliver the ball home. A throw or a fake to a base is considered one of your fakes or hesitations. We swing heavy bats. They can weigh up to 38 ounces, 34 inches long, 2 1/4 on the barrel. All turf domed surface here. Here's Curtis leading off with a former Mudville guy, Enrique Munoz, on the mound. And 210 to center, or excuse me, down the lines, 235 to center, smallest field that we're going to play on. Curtis lofts a high fly ball, and it gets out for a solo home run. Curtis, not necessarily known as a power hitter, again, short dimensions, and and he's upset with himself a little bit because your home runs, because you're only allowed 4 with these short dimensions, you want to use them strategically, and solo homers are not how you want to use your home runs. You want to try to have at least 2 guys on, preferably bases loaded. So Hex has hit their first home run of the ball game, and they cut the deficit to 2-1. A couple other rules: 1-1 count, and the roof is in play. If you hit it up there, here's Nick. If you hit it off the roof, it can be caught on a fly for an out. If it hits the roof in fair territory. If it hits the roof and hits the carpet, it's all you can get. So here's Nick. They also got a strange rule here that if you crash into the fence, they can throw you out of a game. They don't want us damaging the walls out there. And Nick, little fly ball to center, looked like he was going to go to right field, and at the last minute he pulled his hands in. Didn't really get a lot behind the swing. And here's Al Rice. So we expect here early to maybe see some guys having a little rust, as some of these guys did play in the first session, but that was before the holidays. And there's a base hit the other way for Al Rice. And Al is a devastating offensive player. He's got big pop. You don't normally see him just poke it the other way. I think part of the reason for that approach is he's so strong. Sometimes he hits line drives that get out of here. And here's Mark Holstein. Of course, Mark in his prime was one of the best power hitters in 16-inch softball. And Mark into a lot of fitness and training, and has gotten extremely large, so he doesn't quite have the hip action. And there's a line drive, and that ball does not go out. Al Rice had to wait to make sure it wasn't caught. He'll stop at second, and that's actually a semi-break, as Hex has already used a home run there, but you can see it hit high off the wall. So Al had to stop at second. And here comes Rob Scahill. So Hex has got a pretty good lineup. They got some really good hitters. And there's a little ground ball over to Menizzi. And they get the fielder's choice, but no double play. And great job there by Menizzi to get the ball over to Haas, but clearly safe at first. I think Sal Milazzo's come out, and I think what Sal is really more arguing, they called him safe at second. So I think what they were saying was that Brian Haas was still on the bag. I did show that replay, but I wasn't looking for that. I just assumed he was out, being an old short center. I don't like it when umpires hold anybody coming across a bag to such a strict standard. Here's Brian, Sloan, one of the... Brian used to run the Sauce team, little fly ball handled by Navarro, good strong throw home. So with the bases loaded, that fly ball not hit deep enough to drive in anybody. Score remains 2-1. So as I was saying, I don't really, if a guy's flying across the bag, and for my money, if he misses the bag or gets pulled off by a couple of inches, I think you gotta just let the short center have that. Otherwise, you risk getting them blown up. Here's Greco. Now, if he's 2-3 feet off, then absolutely. And there's a humpback liner, but right at Fleming. And that'll do it. So they score the one, but with the bases loaded and one out, that's all they can get. So we'll keep an eye on that and see if that comes into play. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. We always appreciate it. And like I said, we at 10 o'clock will show you the 50 and over championship between the takers and the 55s. And that should be an interesting ball game as well. A lot of Hall of Famers going to be on the diamond tonight for that game. So we'll take a break, a one-game break, and then we'll be back for that. We'll change the caption on this and try to figure out why it didn't update. I got some ghosts in the machine, to say the least. So here comes Brian Haas leading off. Top of the second here. And Haas, a little overhand cut swing, and that's fouled by about 1.5 feet down there. And Brian also one of the impact guys that came over here last year. And I thought the impact guys did a pretty good job. Signature had a pretty successful year, the type of year most teams would be happy for. Of course, they got high standards here. Flash, 45s, Hex. They're not satisfied with, just competing and being considered a top 3 or 4 team. These type of major teams want to try to win. And there's another fly ball, and coming in is Mikey Oliver. And he makes the catch. I'm sorry, that's Donnie Sullivan in center. Mikey Oliver in right field. So Hex has got a pretty decent outfield with Oliver, Sullivan, and that ball's going to be way foul. And Curtis Ostrom. And again at the major level, here's Marco, another impact player. Come on, Marco. So if you're playing at the major level and you don't have a top flight outfield, it's going to be awful hard to win. And there's a high fly ball, long run, and this time this is Oliver, and he makes the catch. Nicely done as he went to the seat of his pants to make the catch. And that's going to bring up the first baseman, Donnie Rollins. And we see a lot of that in 16-inch softball where the outfielders come in and slide underneath the ball. And it's amazing how well these guys time that. And there's a high fly ball, and Oliver puts that away for out number 3. So we're going to head now, bottom of the second, 2-1 still. As Hex will get their second go-round. So we'd like to thank all of our sponsors, but in particular, I'd like to thank Sweet Buzz. You see their nice logo there on the screen. And they are also one of the, so it looks like it's going to be Mike Oliver, Richie Banastoni, and Donnie Sullivan. Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate the compliment. We got off to a rough start, too, over the weekend with the software zooming in on its own. We got that taken care of. Then after that, it was all right. So here's Mikey Oliver leading off here, a sauce guy. We interviewed Mike last year as a part of the Chicago Summer Series. He really came out of the gate great last year, and George Bliss interviewed him with on one of our post-tournament shows, a little ground ball to Haas, high throw. Good stretch there by the first baseman to stay on the bag. And I tell you, it was like going to the dentist and getting teeth pulled. Mikey, not a very talkative guy. So here's nice guy, but just not talkative. So here comes Richie Battistoni. Richie looks good. It looks like he lost some weight. High pop up to Marston. And he made the catch. That ball almost slid out. And I think you can see they're kind of giggling and giving Marston a little bit of the business there. But he held on. Here's Donnie Sullivan with Eric Nedzilla on deck. If he keeps it going, it'll be Nick Kimmer. So far, the difference in the game, there's a hard ground ball. Marston. Now, Danny, he kind of let that ball get a little deep into his body there. See if we can show you on the replay, kids. You can see he let that ball get really deep, and when he bent over, he was literally had his hands right by his toes. And he didn't really charge it, but just laid back, and Nedzilla caught by Fleming for the third out. Looked like it might have been trouble off the bat, but Greg Fleming, a very good, fast outfielder, and got there and made it look easy. So at the end of two complete, still 2-1 as we head to the third. And even though it's 2-1, both teams here in the third are starting with the last hitter in their lineup. So it'll be Enrique Munoz, Q, and then the top of the lineup with Marston and Mark Menizzi. In the bottom of the third, it'll be Nick Kimmer, and then Curtis Ostrom and Nick Casano. So a little kind of interesting. Difference in the game so far. Bases loaded, 1 out, and Hex did not score in the first inning. And here's Spencer Mahoney hitting for a Q. Spencer must have got here late. And folks, if you ever get a chance and you're at one of the tournaments this summer and Signature is playing, make a point of watching this kid Mahoney. He's one of the really good young 16-inch players in the game, and he did some major damage last year in that summer series. And he's a big, rangy kid. And there's a little topper the other way, right to Casanos, and he makes the play, almost stumbling over the bag. And they're back to the top of the lineup. So that's hard when you don't get BP. You saw Spencer can run, as he made that play a lot closer than you might have thought. So here's Marston. Led the game off, got on base with a base hit to center and scored the first run of the contest. So there will be no intentional sports this weekend. We thought we were going to have the semifinal and final, but again, they overbooked over there, and now it looks like April 11th, and Marston whistles his second hit. We told you he was the hit leader in the summer series, and he doesn't look like he's shown any signs of slowing down. Good young player, big Kentucky fan. So 1 out, 1 on. Here's Mark Manizzi. And Mark tries to flip the other way. Long run. It's foul, though. And we'll bring it all back. So Danny, a pretty good player. I tried to recruit him when he was a young kid, but I was always running up against him going to play on. And there's a flare the other way. Ostrom, little basket catch, and he'll fire it in. Runner on first, 2 outs. Brings up Navarro. Now this is a good example. Marston runs well here at first. And Navarro is a speed demon, so as an infielder, you got to know what you're doing. And there he slashes it toward the alley, and a sliding catch made by Donnie Sullivan in center. Robs him of a hit, keeps the score 2-1. You can see there, Donnie got a terrific jump on that sinking line drive, and he keeps the score right here. So Navarro hit it good, just didn't get no love. So again, it's going to be Nick Kimmer, then the top, Curtis Ostrom, Nick Casanos. I know somewhere Carly O'Cray is watching. Carly, Nick's better half, and of course her brother Rory, also on the ball club, looking out towards center field to see if they maybe snuck into the park. O'Cray's a very close-knit family. And here's Nick Kimmer, and Nick trying to go the other way, hit a little too fat. Can of corn out there for Marco. And Marco, another one of these good outfielders on signature. So they got Navarro in center who can fly. Fleming can fly. Marco normally a left fielder by trade, but he can play pretty much anywhere out there. So 1 up, 1 down here in the third. And Ostrom swings. And that's a little fly out to center. 2 outs. And I think some of that rust I talked about is kind of showing up here early, as I think guys are still trying to get into it a little bit. This game is clipping along pretty well without there being a ton of offense here. But the interesting thing is, and there Casanos hits it foul down the line. We're at 2-1 here, but as we get later in the game, Signature still has 4 home runs they can hit. Remember, there's a limit because of the short dimensions. Hex has only hit 1. So both teams may start trying to unload dingers. So I just can't believe that the final score here would be 2-1. So congratulations to 10 deep. winning the 2025. And there's a line drive base hit. So 2-out base runner here for Hex, and it'll bring up Al Rice. So congratulations to 10 Deep. They won the 2025 Los Barachos Softball Club Coats and Blankets Invitational at Harrison Park last Saturday. Congratulations to Born Divine as they were the runner-up. And Latrell Giles and JoJo Reynolds co-MVPs. And now Rice hammers it toward the gap. Casanos will get to third. Runners on the corner. And it brings up Holstein. And this is the type of situation as a manager that you don't mind if your guy takes a shot at it with two guys on base. And of course, Rob Scale on deck, big power as well. So even should Mark just get a base hit here, you could see Scahill try to launch. As we are in the meat of the lineup here. And this is where I like to call them road graders. And Mark takes that pitch. Yeah, probably not, Jimmy. So here we go, Mark Holstein. And hey, walk him. Bases are loaded. Now at this point, they'll courtesy run with Curtis. And I think right now, if you're the Hex team here, you're giving Rob Scale the green light to try to dip and drive here and put a quick 4 spot on the board. You don't necessarily get the bases loaded all the time, and if you get a chance with the bases loaded with one of your power hitters up, you're looking to do maximum damage. And I think at this point, if you're Q on the hill, you gotta, we put something up today about when do you walk guys and do you think about it. And Scale, though, just stayed within himself, and Al Rice scores, 2-run single. So Scale elected just to punch it. Ball had enough sink to get in front of Navarro. Throw to the plate was close. Umpire called the base runner safe. Now second and third.
Hey, Rob.
And it brings up Brian Sloan. So Hex takes their first lead of the game, 3-2.
Nothing. You're good.
And that's a good job of hitting by Rob. And I don't know if Q was hoping he was going to get himself out and was maybe thinking he'd walk a run in to get to Brian. And now he walks Brian, and the bases are loaded again for Greco. And this guy, Greco's got enough juice to get out of here too. In fact, I'm going to step off this line in case he tries to dip and drive here and ends up whistling one. So they'll courtesy run Nick Kimmer. So Hex, twice they've had the bases loaded here. They had them loaded in the first. And Greco swings, long drive, that's got a chance. No, it bounces just short of the fence. 3 runs are going to score, though, as everybody was running with 2 outs. 3-run double for Greco. And Hex has put a crooked number on the board, 6-2 now. 3-run double.
Good ball.
Navarro playing him tight in center. That ball was hit over the top. He couldn't get to it. And the Rabbits were running. Brings up Mikey Oliver. So 5 runs in the inning, and they've done it without going yard. So they preserve those home runs. And Oliver spanks one. And that ball is off the fence. Another run's going to score. And the head first dive into second. So Heck, second time through the lineup, bringing out the whipping stick as we're going to have a pitching change. First baseman Rollins goes to the hill. Spencer Mahoney comes in to play shortstop. Meanwhile, another run scores, and it's 7-2. It's now a 6-run inning. So again, second time through the lineup, some of that rust getting shaken off. And it's always an interesting dynamic here in the Dome. You've got so many things going on. You got turf, you got a short outfield fence, you got a roof you got to deal with. So defensively, it's odd. Sometimes you do see outfielders want to cheat in a little bit, thinking that they're going to be able to get back on the ball. But we have seen 2 balls that were smoked over the top. I think outside you might see these guys playing a hair deeper, especially without a fence. And both of those balls may or may not have been outs. Here's Richie Battistoni. And Richie goes hard down the line, and Greg Fleming dropped the ball. I'm not sure if that grazed the roof or not, but another run does score. We'll see if we can catch on the replay. That ball may have grazed the roof, I'm not sure. And that may have caused Greg to have to change direction. 8-1, 7-run inning. Here's Donnie Sullivan. Again, Signature has what I'd like to call a big boy offense. And Donnie hits a rocket. And that ball is down and it bounces over for first ground rule double. So they welcome Donnie Rollins to the game in a rude manner. Big break there for Signature as that ball bounced out. It would have scored another run. Brings up Eric Nedzella. And Hex is now batted around. This is the 12th hitter of the inning. You are allowed to hit 12 in here. And Nedzella just pounds it up the middle. 1 run is in. Little bobble. 2 more runs in. 10-1 ball game. 10-2, excuse me. So here in the bottom of the third, Hex has exploded, and here's the guy that started this all about 15 minutes ago, Nick Kimmer. Again, Signature got a big boy offense, and they got 4 dingers left. And there's a line drive, and Mahoney handles it easily to put a period on the inning. But in the inning, 9 runs. See on the replay, that ball was tagged as well, but Mahoney got over there and made the catch. So if you're Signature now, as we head to the top of the 4th, you got a little work to do. We have seen Signature in the past in the Dome fall behind and come roaring back. And I think that they're at 4, 5, 6 here. And again, it's the 4th inning. You are down 8 runs. You're close to the mercy, but the game's going to have to go at least 5. So you're going to get 2 more at-bats. So you don't need the entire 8, but you do need to cut into this. They can get anywhere from 3 to 5 this inning. They'd be right back in the ball game. So here's Scarlata. Again, the tendency is you might want to just say screw it and try to hit home runs, but again, you want to get a couple of base runners and then maybe launch. And of all the teams in the Dome, Signature may have more or as many home run hitters as anybody. And Scar there chopping a little wood. Looked like he was going to try to just kind of half cut or slap that into left center. Got a little flatter pitch than he was expecting. Just beat it right into the ground. So here's Pick. Greg Fleming on deck. So Hex trailing 2-1 heading into that bottom of the third explodes. And they pretty much they scored a run in the first, left the bases loaded. And there's a walk to Pick. If your Signature, you'll take it. You need base runners. Brings up Fleming with Brian Haas on deck, and Brian's got a little thump as well, and so does Marco. Pick decides he wants to run. So here comes Fleming. And Fleming laces a base hit into center. Pick will stop at second, again trailing by 8. You're not going to take any crazy chances. And that'll bring up Brian Haas. And if you're a Signature, you'd be okay with Haas maybe trying to go deep here. Could make it a 5 and dime game with one swing. He tries to cut instead, and diving catch by Kimmer. Now he says safe. And they get the fielder's choice, and now they're going to get the... That should be a double play. The umpire said he dropped the ball. They ran over and they touched third base for the fielder's choice. The runners went back. They thought it was a diving catch by Kimmer, and that'll end the inning. So kind of an unusual fielder's choice there. Sorry I didn't show you the replay, but I was trying to figure out what was going on. I thought Kimmer made the catch. I actually thought that as Kimmer was going to the ground and landed, he was trying to flip the ball back toward third to keep the runners from advancing. And I think the umpire thought that the ball came out and said no catch. And at that point, the runners were going back or not running. And they went and they got a fielder's choice there to end the inning. But there had to be another out there. I think they threw to second and got the fielder's choice on the runner at first. I think that's what happened there. So very strange play indeed. You can rewind it at home. If you figure it out, let us know in the chat comments. So we head to the bottom of the fourth, and again, Brian Haas has got a lot of pop. He's trying to get cute with a cut. You'd like to see him just sit back and try to drive something there. Here's Curtis, and he hits the roof. Spencer fell down, but they call it a foul ball. It'll be 2 strikes. Again, it's very, very difficult to gauge sometimes as a home plate umpire because you're behind home plate. And now Ostrom drills a base hit, so he takes advantage of the new life, leads off this bottom of the fourth with a base hit. He brings up Nick Casanos. So we are halfway through, 10-2. Hex leading this ball game. And Casanos walks the dog down the right field line. That'll be a double as it bounces up into the netting. So Nick Casanos just drove it the other way beautifully down the right field line. And now we got second and third. You can see the ball over that short fence. And here's Al Rice, and now with two base runners on, I would be shocked if Al Rice didn't try to launch here. Put up a quick three here. And he does try to launch, and he does get it out of here. A three-run bomb for Al Rice. Makes it 13. So that ball was hit very high, and it just got over the fence there. Again, they got a rule here that you can't run into the fence because we got so many big, fast, strong guys, and it breaks some of the, supposed to be breakaway temporary fencing, but the way they got pins in there, it always cracks the bracket. So here's Mark Holstein, and Mark flips it the other way. Navarro, little bobble, but he holds on for the first out here in the bottom of the fourth. 13-2 Hex. They've now hit 2 home runs, and Signature has not hit any up to this point. Here's Rob Scahill. And there's a long one as Rob unloads way up into the net. And Hex puts the 14th run on the board. And that's why that last inning, Rob actually was patient. And he did not try to hit it out. Instead, he just hit a single the other way, but that'll be the third home run. It brings up Brian Sloan. 14-2 here in the bottom of the fourth. So the new look Hex team, and the reason why you get into these dome leagues is because when you have a lot of new faces, you want to start the bonding process. And it's nice when you can get all of that new guy stuff out of the way and something that's a little less stressful than a regular season or a big tournament. And it lets your guys settle in and ground ball back to the mound. And that will be out number one. First 4 guys up have all scored. Brings up Greco with Mikey Oliver on deck. A little surprised. Hex is up 14-2 here. Not sure what the run rule is out here. You would assume 10 after 5, and they do have a lot of guys on that bench, and they are playing a doubleheader tonight. So sometimes you like to get those guys a swing. And Greco flares that the other way, and that's a foul ball. Sometimes you like to get the guys on the bench involved. I'm sure some of these guys are going to be playing in the nightcap. I would assume that Rory and Tommy for sure will be playing in the nightcap. So 14-2. Sky high fly ball. Marco calls for it and he puts it away. So we head to the top of the fifth, 14-2. Hex. And they have put Rory in defensively. So he slid over. He's going to be playing second base now, it appears. And I believe that's the only real change. So it's going to be Marco, Donnie, and Spencer. And then it'll be the top of the lineup. So if it's 10 after 5, Signature would need 3 to continue the ball game. Sal, what's the slaughter here? And that just scrapes the roof, but Curtis comes over, stayed right with it. That's out number 1 here. Let's change that inning. As we are in the top of the 5th here. So I'm not sure if I think Signature is missing Matt Menizzi. I'm not sure if they're missing any other starters. And Hex pretty much looks like they got their whole team out today, which is pretty good. But this session, time's much more reasonable. And there's a little ground ball up the middle. Kimmer throws across, and they call him safe. So check out the replay there. And there's a slow developing play here. Kimmer got there, but the lefty hustling out of the box beats it out. So here's Mahoney, and Spencer tops another one. Rory over to Casano, and they get the fielder's choice. And that'll bring it to the top of the lineup and Danny Marston. Danny, a couple of hits already today. And you can tell Spencer a little rusty. And Marston, little fly ball, and right on the spot is Donnie Sullivan. And that'll do it. And I believe that's it. So that is the mercy rule. Hex all business on the strength of that huge 4th inning. Well, they put up a 9 spot, followed it up with 4 more, the 3rd, and then 4 more in the 4th. And they blow it open and they win. So pretty solid job by Hex, kind of verifying what we thought, that they would be a improved, solid major club. So check us out, folks. We're going to take a game off, and we will be back with the 50 and over. Takers versus 55 for all the marbles. So thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon. On behalf of Sweet Buzz, the SS